Hey guys, so I've been wanting to post a little video about homeschooling and just a little backstory on my situation. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and she was born in February of 2014, and she's an only child, and I am a stay-at-home mom, but I also work from home part-time for a national nonprofit, and I am usually in school full-time as well. I just finished an associate's degree last summer. So I'm taking off this summer, and then I'll be starting my bachelor's degree come fall 2017. So needless to say, I'm very busy. I'm a single parent. I'm super busy. My plate is full. But for me, homeschooling was something that I always kind of wanted for my children, or my child in this case, even before I was a mom. So when I started kind of picking up on the fact that my daughter was probably advanced for her age, I decided that maybe I should be looking more into homeschooling and what that entails. I'm a former teacher. I used to teach preschool. So I do have that background in me. I don't have any formal education in education. I did take some early childhood education courses and some other trainings, but my degree is not in education. However, I because of my experience in the classroom, I always had classroom type materials around for my daughter as she was growing up. We obviously had the regular toys and things of that nature that you would buy any child. But I also made sure I had manipulatives around, like sensory boxes. Um, I did a lot of reinforcing. So if it was winter time and it was getting cold, I would make snow. And there's an easy recipe to do that with, I think it's baking powder, baking soda, and a white inexpensive hair conditioner, like Suave stuff you can get for at the dollar store. Anyway, so things like that, I would reinforce that. Or if it was Christmas time, I would make gingerbread scented Play-Doh and we'd read about the gingerbread boy. I did a lot of reinforcing, and I think that really helped her grasp concepts very easily. And she started reading before she turned 3. And to be completely honest, as you can see, I have a really busy schedule. And I always want to be that parent who sits down with their child and reads 3 or 4 books every night. But let me tell you, that's rarely ever happened. I rarely have the time to sit down and read with her like that. So, just kind of exposing her to various things really, I guess, helped her reading and her retention. So, when I noticed that she was reading before she was 3 and her vocabulary was very large, and she was just really ahead of the game. That's when I started looking into homeschooling. I will state that um, the law varies in every state. So you'll want to first check the guidelines for your particular state because they vary. So in Virginia, where I live, um, the only thing that's required is once your child is of a certain age, a school age, 5, 6, something like that, you have to submit a letter of intent to your school superintendent, along with some other supporting documentation, like proof that you graduated high school and that sort of thing. And then homeschooling is a right in the state of Virginia. You don't have to ask for permission. You are able to just homeschool. So that's not something I have to worry about right now because my daughter's only 3. Even though I'm homeschooling her in advance of that age. I don't have to worry about that until we go down the road. So my intention is to homeschool her for as long as possible. I don't know what the future holds for us. I cannot work part-time forever. I'm obviously not going to be in school forever. And if I eventually end up deciding to go to law school, which I'm not really sure I'm going to, but if I do, I'm highly doubting that I'm going to have time to homeschool her because law school, as everybody knows, is really intense. So but anyway, for the time being, there are a lot of Facebook groups that you can join to get ideas for homeschooling. I will link a bunch of them in the description of this video so that you can check them out yourself. I would take with a grain of salt. Some are more calm than others. Some are geared towards different age groups. Some are geared towards those who have additional needs. Some are geared towards gifted children. So you'll kind of want to poke around and see what, maybe just read through some of the responses, some of the questions other people are asking. Utilize the search tool within the group to search for something that you're looking for. Like if you're trying to figure out, well, what about testing? What about scholarships? What about transcripts? You can search for that, and I'm sure somebody else has probably already asked, and they've probably gotten a really great response on it. So Facebook groups have been really helpful. Knowing the law, talking to other parents who have chosen to homeschool as well. There are working parents who homeschool. There are plenty of parents out there who work out of home 9 to 5 jobs and still homeschool their children. Obviously, I was in elementary school a long time ago, and I was never homeschooled myself, so I can't directly compare, obviously, my experience with that. But what I get the gist of from a lot of homeschooling parents is that although traditional school is great, a lot of that time, if they're in school for 6 hours, a lot of that is gobbledygook or, lunch and snack and recess and um, there's just excess. They're paying attention to the 20 other kids in the class or the 30 other kids in the class and answering their questions and helping them in homework time. So there's a lot less instruction. So when you homeschool, you can actually get a day's worth of school done in a much quicker manner. So, for example, my daughter's 3. However, I have her in preschool level this year. She will start kindergarten 2 years ahead of her age, and so she will start kindergarten curriculum this year for this school year upcoming, 2017 to 2018. So when I do preschool with her, it's so basic, and a lot of that is because of their age. You're not pulling out all of your chemistry gear to try to teach them an hour-long intensive session at this age. So when I instruct my daughter, it's very casual. 95% of the time, she's asking me for lessons. I don't ever tell her it's time for lessons. She always comes to me and pretty much begs me to do lessons with her. Um, Right now we're on vacation, so not so much. It's happened, but not as often. But when we're back home, it's even on the weekends, at night, all the time she wants to do more lessons. But when I do them, they may be 5, 10 minutes max per lesson at preschool level. Sometimes she wants to do more than one. She averages about 2 to 3 lessons per day. And I use the Easy Peasy curriculum, and I'll link that in my description as well. I cannot speak highly enough of that curriculum because it's free. It is a religious-based curriculum. However, for preschool, I've not really seen any religious references. I don't know about the grades subsequent. I believe that Easy Peasy also offers a non-religious component to their curriculum. I believe that you can purchase it for a fee. Don't quote me, I'm not sure, because again, I don't utilize it. But if you can, it's a very minuscule fee. And Easy Peasy does go through elementary school and I believe into middle school, maybe even beyond. I'm not sure, but you can definitely click on their link in my description of my video and check it out. But it's entirely free. It is computer based. You're going to need a computer or you will need a tablet that has Flash enabled software on it. You can pay to have the entire curriculum in a printed format, but the free format is online. So you will need internet access on a computer, or like I said, an upgraded tablet with Flash installed on it. But Easy Peasy is great, and what I started to do is there's different levels and different grades, and Easy Peasy has Getting Ready 1, that's broken up actually into two parts, and that's preschool. And then Getting Ready 2 is actually kindergarten. So I started out with Getting Ready 1, Part 1, and started going through that. And then I ended up coming across a post in a Facebook group that said if your child recognizes letters, can sound letters out, can read, that sort of thing, you can actually skip that part and go to Getting Ready 1, Part 2. So I've been mixing and matching, and we focus heavily on that part two and do most of part two. But every now and then we'll go back and I'll toss in a lesson from Getting Ready 1, Part 1, which is letter recognition stuff just for fun and to reinforce. Um, Getting Ready 1 Part 2 focuses on the McGuffey primer and really reading heavily and challenging them on their words and their recognition of words and reading. Um, so it's fun to break it up every now and then. And then because it's so short and so quick, for us to do a lesson, I'll toss in things sometimes. Like when we were going back to part one, it was like a bee. And so I would do a bee in glue on a paper for her, and then she could glue things that started with the letter B on the glue bee. So buttons, things that were colored blue, that sort of thing. So I would add my own things into it, and it's totally easy to do. If you've got ideas, coloring sheets you can print off the internet, workbooks, that sort of thing. Amazon also has really inexpensive workbooks that you can purchase. So I have a few of those around. We don't do a whole lot of that, but I have those around. Um, and I will add too that I'm finding that majority of the families that I talk to that choose to homeschool do so year round. And at first that sounds like, whoa, that's a lot. But when you homeschool year round, you're given more flexibility as far as taking off a few weeks for summer or for vacation, or you're given a lot of flexibility. So um, homeschooling year round is great. So for us, my daughter has about a week or so left of preschool. But we're going to continue all summer with just reinforcing, going back and doing that level one stuff, giving her some time off. And then come September of this year, we'll start kindergarten. So I wanted to show you guys too what I do. So I have two binders. You can see they're just 1-inch binders. I have one for my daughter that contains all of her completed work in it that's 3-hole punched. And then I have this one for me, which I put together especially because I was traveling and wanted to bring things down with me. And this will contain, you can see the work that she's completed over here. This will actually go in her binder, but it's up in Virginia right now. And eventually it'll go through, and obviously it'll be a nice book of not only what she's done, but also it'll go through her shapes, her colors, her letters, her words, and that sort of thing that she's done, so she can look back at that. But the first page in here for me, you can see, is our schedule, and at the top you can see it's Getting Ready 1, and down in the yellow part is actually Getting Ready 1 Part 2. So you can see where I started at the top, and under each block, I write the date that we did the lesson. So I can keep track and have for my records in case anybody asks or in case it's ever needed. I have records, and it also helps keep me organized as to what we do. And so if you look, we skip, we don't do it every day. We'll do 3 lessons one day, and then we won't do it again for another week. It just depends. But we really try to do lessons probably about 4 days a week, I would say. That's probably a good number. And then what I do is I pre-print. There's probably about 15 pages worth of stuff, of material here. So I pre-print the worksheets out ahead of time. This is from level 1 of getting ready 1. So this is some of the letter recognition stuff that, I throw in every now and then for her to do. So I pre-print these and have them in here. Coloring sheets, D is for donut, very basic stuff you can find online for free. But Easy Peasy includes them also. But I have those pre-printed ahead of time so I can stay organized. I have everything. I'm not worried about my ink running out. If we travel, I have enough material with me for her to utilize when we travel. But basically, the bottom line is it's a lot easier than what people think to homeschool. You don't need any sort of formal education, besides obviously your high school diploma. I'm sure most places would require that. But you don't need any sort of formal education. You don't need to have any certifications. You don't need to take any classes. For the most part, you can just homeschool your kids however you desire. We do not participate in co-ops at this point. That's an option for homeschool children to participate in co-ops so that they can interact with other children. But I've done a really good job so far of making sure that my daughter interacts with people and other children anyway. So, for example, she was going to my gym classes once a week, and then they had open gym twice a week. So we would go once or we'd go twice. So she would have all those days of gym time. And then we would go to library class once a week for her age group. And those were offered free through our public library system. Most public libraries do offer that, and those helped tremendously as well. And then she'll be in summer camp. So another reason why we're kind of taking it easy this summer with our schooling, but still doing something. Um, so I choose to socialize her that way, and I have her involved however I possibly can. Eventually, I'd like to get her involved in T-ball. They do that at 3 years old. They offer soccer fundamental program called Soccer Shots where I am. So I want to get her involved in that also come the fall. So there's lots of different ways to get involved. And I can't, like I said, I can't speak from any experience about co-ops because we have never participated in them. But I know plenty of people that do. I've heard mixed things on them. So obviously, your experience is going to be different than somebody else's experience. And depending on where you're located, how many co ops you have to choose from. Um, but anyway, so that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to say is that I am thrilled with our decision to homeschool. It's a lot easier than I expected. I'm so grateful for a curriculum like Easy Peasy, the fact that it's free and it's on the internet and it's super accessible. And I encourage you, I encourage you to check out the link and click around, kind of familiarize yourself with it. I know for preschool, kindergarten, those sorts of things, your basic supplies are needed, like pencils, pens, markers, paper, glue, erasers. Um, Nothing is super required. You don't have to go buy a telescope or that sort of thing. Excuse me. So it's really easy to do as long as you have internet access and a computer. You can definitely do it anywhere. Um, but again, that's basically that. And I hope that my video helped anybody out there who's thinking about the decision to homeschool. Again, click through Easy Peasy for us for preschool, for getting ready 1. A typical day or a typical lesson consists of learning your words, and there's a slideshow that talks about their words for the day. You repeat them in the morning, at lunchtime, and at dinner. And then after that, you read the story that those words are in. And then at the end, you're rewarded with a game. And there's all kinds of games online from PBS, from other different websites. But for our situation, my daughter catches onto the words so quickly and knows them right off the bat, needs very little intervention. So we just go right from learning the words right into the story, right into the game. That's another reason why for us to do lessons, it's a very short period of time. So anyway, I've rambled on now for 20 minutes, but I just want to let you guys know what I utilize. It's great, it's free, it's wonderful. You can use it in addition to going to school to reinforce things at home and to have that bonding time. I super love and enjoy that even when I'm super busy with work and school and everything else, that I take that time with my daughter every day to sit and do lessons with her. It is great and it's a really great bonding experience. So, anyway, I hope this video helped. If you have any questions, as always, just leave me a comment and let me know if I can help you in any way. And I hope to see you guys soon. Thanks.